Bleu, where we introduce you to who is building Arizona, bringing you the people and businesses that shape the landscape around us. From economic development and developers, underwriters and lenders, architects and engineers, to the very builders and suppliers that bring it all together. Now let's join our hosts, Robert Johnson and JJ Levensky, aka Mac and Blue.
Welcome. JJ Levinsky here, president of Blue Wave General Contracting. My esteemed colleague, Robert Johnson, is out today. He had a little, let's just call it dental work done that I don't know if he would have driven here. We would have been legal. There might have been some just say issues with the DOT. Anyway, Robert, I know you're listening. Miss you, buddy. And we have our esteemed guest today, James Murphy from Willmeng. Welcome, James.
JJ, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So with that, and we have our producer and the third musketeer of our usual group, Daryl Robinson.
Yes, thank you for being here. Super excited about today's conversation.
By the way, for those of you not watching or that cannot see him, Daryl finally got the memo. I did not today. I flew in late, but he honored the code and wore the nice loud shirt. So Robert, you'd be proud of Daryl today if you saw him.
Yeah, I was super excited to see Robert today just to show off my shirt. He didn't make it.
Looking good.
He's probably wearing that sport coat at home listening to us right now. So without further ado, James, you and I met a while back, and let's be honest, what you represent in our community as far as a general contractor is very well established, very well respected. And I think the audience and kind of the credo of what we do here at Building Arizona under the Mac and Blue kind of moniker is to just share the wealth of knowledge about anything in Building Arizona. And what you and your wonderful team at Willmeng has done is gone really well noticed in the Valley. And if you could just give a little bit of background about yourself. I think the story about you and Jack is, if you can share some stuff there, and then I can just keep leading you down other channels.
There you go. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Proud to be here. Congrats on all that you've done. You certainly haven't been standing still yourself in this market, and it's been fun to watch as well. So, for me, byproduct of or a product of ASU, both undergrad and grad school.
You're local.
I moved into the state in 1990.
You're local.
And the seas of Arizona, copper. My dad was a metallurgical engineer.
Oh.
And so ASARCO was his last stop after a 37-year career in that industry as a metallurgical engineer. So Arizona is definitely home for me now. Love the state, proud of the state, and for many reasons. Melting pot. Most everybody's from somewhere else, and I do think that tends to bring us an advantage in the business environment. And anyway, but at the time that I went to ASU, Dr. Badger was running the construction program, and they were talking old school, new school, and unbeknownst to me, I really did represent new school, although I wouldn't have self-assigned that label. And really, Jack Willmeng did represent old school and old school in a good way.
Now, for the audience back then,
yep,
was the GC market heavily involved with the school?
Yeah.
Or was Jack an anomaly, or were you an anomaly in that relationship?
Yeah, no, I mean, Jack, Arizona Builders Alliance was alive and well, and the tie between the construction college, the Del Webb School of Construction. I think it was newly named then the Del Webb School of Construction, although the program had been around for a long time. But anyway, it was Jack had great success with a couple of graduates in the program ahead of me. And anyway, there's a kind of a triangulation between Willmeng support of the ABA then, and Jack having interest in the students that the Del Webb School of Construction was kicking out. So anyway, for me, I was very interested in falling in under somebody that had done well and a quality builder, and kind of had my hand up to be somebody's successor. And thankfully for me, he was actually looking for a successor, excuse me.
And that was the late 90s, correct?
Yeah. I met Jack. Yeah. I mean, I started in July 99.
Okay.
And so, yeah. Yeah. And again, hello, I'm James Murphy. Hello, I'm Jack Willmeng. And then he hit me with, what makes you think you have what it takes to run my company? I mean, that was the opening line. But we knew why we were getting together. And I had the very eloquent answer of give me a chance. And while looking at the top of my shoes, everybody has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. Right. And Jack just came at me, and
more than a kick in the mouth.
More than a kick in the mouth. Right. And, but anyway, from there, I mean, he I think grinned and backed off quite a bit. We had a really good conversation. Ultimately, he did give me that chance. But in hindsight, new school was meeting old school, and new school didn't really realize they were new school in that moment. So,
and then jump ahead to what, 2006 is the transformation for you, correct?
Yep. Yeah. I became the owner effectively January 1st of 06.
Nice.
So yeah. It the foundation in building and pre-construction and things that Jack, a client following, the go learn from somebody else. I'm very thankful that I did. So,
and our industry unfortunately lost him. What year did he pass away?
About the same time.
Okay.
About the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. November of 2005, I became 100% owner. January 1st of 2006.
Got it.
Yeah. So
now take the audience through, let's call it the last few years of just this, not only you, but our industry in total, but specifically to Willmeng and what you guys represent with your team, the hyper growth and what you guys have represented and what your leadership. And I know you're going to give a lot of credit to your team. This isn't just a James Murphy spiel, but for the audience, they always want to hear the stories of what have you been faced with and what are you guys doing to overcome all those obstacles that are out there, whether it's the labor situation, all those kind of things, because you guys are part of the elite group that's at the forefront of this as one of the largest. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you are now the largest general contractor in Arizona exclusively from or local, if I read that right the other day.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to go privately held non-ESOP.
Okay,
right?
There you go.
Because there's some monster and that have done very well, big ESOPs out there, and we're not an ESOP.
They're our peer group and our friends.
Yep. And built Arizona in a good way for a long time. And so anyway, ESOPs aside, privately held commercial building contractor. Yeah, I do. We're told anyway that we're the biggest at this point.
Nice.
And again, growth hasn't really been a motivator for us per se. Diversity has.
Right.
And if you care about your people and your organization, and you're in a historically cyclical market, the way you battle that and sleep well at night is with diversity. So that's what the market is seeing as a real appetite for diversity and a commitment to penetrate markets and do well on the first one and earn the next one on the first one. And that's what people are seeing in terms of diversity movement.
So what did you guys do strategically? Like, let's take industrial out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Your signs are everywhere with the industrial tilt stuff. But for those that don't know, like, what are some other verticals and unique things that you guys have diversified into?
Yeah. I mean, the private world. I mean, Jack really did well in the private world, and we say very developer centric, whether it be office or industrial or whatever it was. But the private world, and we have as much of an appetite for that type of work as we've ever had. That said, diversity, public sector work, and projects that are downstream of.
And you have a whole JOC division, correct?
We've got a JOC division, and we effectively have, call it three different leaders, including the leader of JOC. And JOC is not all that they do, but that is one of the things that they're very, very good at. But anyway, we have three leaders that are very, very heavily focused in the public sector. And so, anything in the current definition of public project in the state of Arizona, we're looking at and trying to identify what suits us well, that we can deliver a good outcome for the client.
Nice. So let's go back to labor, because we all struggle with that. And because of your tie, correct me if I'm wrong, but with your ties with ASU, you've been very proactive as the individual and you and your leadership team. Going back, can you let the audience know, like, how does Willmeng do that differently, or what have you found that's, I mean, without giving any proprietary secrets away,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do people look to you guys as? What was the paradigm that you guys set up and modeled to attract all the young people out there, not only from ASU, but I think if you could explain like what you guys are doing at the national level for recruitment.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, studying what drives each generation. The current generations that make up the majority of the workforce. It's not total earnings isn't the only thing driving them. It's just not. And the discussions around, would prefer to have hours in the day where I'm not responsible to respond to emails. And when I'm on vacation, I want to be on vacation. Right. And anyway, I think we were one of the first in the industry to really look at construction professionals and their entire life and really have an offering that's about supporting their entire life, including their personal goals. And so, if someone's anyway, we're looking to holistically support the people and holistically recruit the people. And it's not all wage. And certainly there are companies out there that are really about appealing to earnings, but as we all know, what typically happens on the backside of that is the personal side gets squashed, and that's not success by our definition. So.
Well, I'm kind of setting you up here because I noticed, and I don't know if this is new within the last year, but forgive me if I'm naive to this. On the bottom of your emails, the salutation says "exist for people to build their genuine place of purpose."
Mm-hmm.
I assume that was a strategic move on this ethos, if you will.
100%.
And have you had this around for a while, or
several years now? Several years now, and our review cycle's kicking off right now. Oh boy, right? Anyway, everybody gets to go through it every year, but for us, we have we PDPs or personal development plans. We start off with the personal side of the equation, and in that, there aren't any good businesses out there that are going to forget about the professional development. And anyway, we start on the personal side with goals and aspirations, and then we bookend it with the professional side. And so anyway, it appeals to a different subsector of construction professionals, and it's really served us well. And I'm wired for organizational health, and that's a good way to see to it that we're healthy.
My esteemed colleague here, Daryl, we're going to take a break, and we'll come right back with more questions with James.
Torrey Contracting, your full-service Division 9 contractor. Torrey Contracting operates with a smaller, hands-on team. This cohesive structure results in superior workmanship and economical solutions. We deliver projects with unsurpassed commitment to quality and stewardship of budget. Torrey Contracting, small enough to listen, big enough to deliver.
All right, I'm back with James here. So I know that in the circles that I run in, they're always, I want to peel back that onion a little bit, James, with you. I think what you described, mixing that personal with professional development. Are you able to transcend different generations with that motto?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that not strictly, but do you see a higher concentration of breaking through with the younger generation on that? Or does it also appeal to old guys like me?
Yeah, no, I think the industry has over time has struggled with some really talented people become one-dimensional, and it's they're all profession and professional, and what happens is their definition of Homefront gets squashed. And so anyway, with that, certainly it does appeal to all generations. And anyway, a healthy, happy employee does have a lot to do with balance, and so we're all about doing what we can to see to it that we're aware of how balanced somebody is or isn't, and trying to be sure that we're supporting them in all ways, and at least we're aware of what is important to them.
So again, because we all spy on each other on LinkedIn and everything.
There you go.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. I saw this summer you guys did a pretty cool thing. I think did you not take most of your team, if not all the team? Was it up to Utah or something?
We
And
had.
could you just tell the audience
Sure,
what
sure.
from your seat as CEO, what did that look like, and what did you cry? Did you have fun at the end?
Yeah,
All of the above.
Yeah. No, fair. It's a big. I think we had 545 people at the Snowbird Ski Resort, and that we got up there. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event.
Wow.
And so I mean the coordination side of it, to program.
What did the CPM look like on that?
Oh boy, yeah, oh boy.
For those of you that don't know, this is where Daryl chimes in. What does CPM mean?
Yeah,
critical path.
Yeah, it was a serious undertaking. But a lot of fun, lot of fun. And it's for the most part, base employee plus significant other and/or family there, and we had a lot of fun. And it's a blend between what is the overall corporate vision, and then even talking about things like personal development plans. I mean, there was a conference style breakfast session that we feel it's as important for the plus one to know what we're doing as the base employee, and healthy families equal healthy organization. And we put a lot of energy into communicating with everybody.
So did you have speakers and help things like that help perpetuate that?
Most the speaking sessions and the panel sessions were all leadership team.
Oh, it was all leadership.
All
okay.
Leadership team.
Got
yeah. And in years past, we brought in speakers. I mean, one year we had Kurt Warner as a motivational speaker, and I mean, talk about blasting it out of the park. And our expectations were high, and he was better than that. I mean, outstanding. Yeah. And so anyway, we certainly do bring in outside professionals this year though at Snowbird, and we had the Summit restaurant booked one evening. I mean, just you can't go wrong with a destination like that.
So how, back to what you were talking about, you're in this review session now. Have you already started to get, I'm sure you had immediate feedback, but have you had repeated feedback did it hit the mark for not only you, but for them as well?
Yes. Really, really positive feedback. It's hard to be out of town. And so there were a few folks that would have rathered we stayed, maybe Flagstaff, maybe not.
But you've done that before too.
We outgrew Little America, and I mean we did. And anyway, we had a great experience.
Again, growth problems.
Growing pains. But anyway, overall, really, really positive feedback, and the team building side of it. There's a kind of everybody's broken into teams and competing against each other, and it's a lot of laughs, a lot of smiles.
Good.
So good time.
Switching gears, kind of want to go down again. You're everywhere all the time. So you as James Murphy, your involvement at every economic development type meeting, all those kind of things. I'm going to set that aside for a minute, but let's go back to just like your involvement representing Willmeng and all of us too as peers, ABA and NAIOP for instance. And I think if you could speak to that a little bit of, why do you put your time into there? What do you get out of it? And what do you see the benefits of us as a collegial group of construction professionals? Where are we trending in your involvement with those two organizations?
Yeah. I'll start with NAIOP. I mean, if you
and for Daryl, you're supposed to jump in here. Sorry, will you tell everyone what NAIOP is?
Yeah. So I mean, in highest level, it's the assembly of private developers, primarily the brokerage communities that help deals get made. Architects, engineers, contractors they're kind of the vendor pool, if you will, in NAIOP, National Association of Office and Industrial Properties. And so anyway, it for the most part represents the private development world. And anyway, I mean that room has been really, really, really good to Willmeng for a long time. And we in terms of repeat business, we call it the horse race, and you show a client originate maybe in 2002 or 2004 or 2010, and so they originate in your volume, and then it comes forward chronologically. And anyway, if you look at the developers that have participated in NAIOP for years and years and years. I mean, they're our best clients. There's no question about it. And when it comes time to push for legislation and have a voice on behalf of private development about tax structures, and they've just represented the state of Arizona really, really, really well. You look at who gets recognition by NAIOP as an industry leader, or a career achievement award, and you look at this year, Dave Crumwoody was recognized, Lincoln Property Company, and if you're recognized by NAIOP as a career achievement award winner, I mean, you're the best of the best in terms of what you've accomplished in your career. And so anyway, Willmeng as a vendor to that room, a building contractor, really got behind the board, and the current president, we've been at it for now 15 years.
15, wow.
15 years of pretty much whoever, or the current chair, whoever the current chair is, and whatever it is that they're up to, we tend to fall in behind them and do it, at least our share. At the beginning, it was purely altruistic in that we were working for a handful of the firms in that room, but the slim minority really at the beginning. And so it was altruistic, and just, thank you for leading the way in a healthy private development continuum. Obviously, from then to now, the vast majority are our clients, and so it spun from purely altruistic to altruistic and thank you all at the same time. But anyway, from a state of Arizona and private sector development of all kinds, all types, really, market sectors in the private world. Boy, we've got a lot to be thankful for in that NAIOP room, and NAIOP leadership at large. We all owe them a big thank you.
So with all the growth here in Arizona, then is Arizona NAIOP recognized almost as now a new leader nationally?
One of the leaders in the country for sure.
Yeah,
one of the leaders in the country for sure. Yeah.
And then if you could, again, through your set of eyes, because we get different opinions on this. With we've had tons of economic development related people in here. We always get the question, okay, you guys do just an absolute ton of industrial space. What's that? James, when's the bubble going to burst? James, how many more millions of square feet can we tolerate here? Just at a pure layman's standpoint, give the audience a perspective of what you see.
Yeah. I mean, we're sandwiched in between the ports and, say, Inland Empire and Dallas, right? And although I'm just like everybody else, boy, that's a lot of industrial, right? And I love to see our name on our share, but it's still a lot of industrial. And but when you understand vacancy rates in the Inland Empire and the cost of land and even the rent rates for a distribution space in the Greater California that for the most part is not there. I mean, it's not available. And then you hop over to Dallas, and we were meeting with a developer out of Dallas, and this was probably 18 months ago, and we were looking forward. We had the greater market was on track to complete, I think, 15 million square feet of space or so. We were looking forward, thinking, boy, we could be, I don't know, mid 30s. I mean, we might go from 15 million feet to 35 million feet or so. And we were, talking to a developer from Dallas, and he kind of put his hand out. He's like, you guys realize we've been completing 60 million feet a year for several. So it was kind of a, easy. This isn't new. This is new to Phoenix, so you triangulate that, and Dallas and 50, 60 million feet a year is typical. Inland Empire is out of space, and economically it doesn't pencil anyway, out of land and space. We're in the middle,
with correct me if I'm wrong, with new legislation over there too. There's even kind of some mini moratoriums on some of that as well, James. Correct.
Correct. And at the same time, Ducey rolls out a flat tax rate. So anyway, I feel like we were probably an immature market that had to catch up. And
right.
So anyway, supply demand remains strong. Yes, there's a kind of a flood of supply, and we're all watching that. But I think long-term demand it will remain a favorable equation. So
for the audience sake, just to put in perspective, can you share some of those vacancy rates? I think the general populace and even our trade partners would love to hear, like, any data points you can throw out there, because I don't want to be you're in that world a lot more than I am.
Yeah. You know, I mean, California vacancy, I think it's sub 2%. I mean, these are dramatically low, like space is not available, not there.
Right.
And so anyway, and you know, it's all about truck time in the Western Valley, and you know, everybody watched the 303 explode.
Yep.
It's a favorable distance from the ports, and there's no space available in the Inland Empire, and it's, even if there was, it's cost prohibitive to develop and build there. And so anyway, that's I believe I don't see a cliff coming in any way, shape, or form. You know, onshoring, nearshoring, and manufacturing, that's a whole other wave. And so anyway, I see a we say tailwind, a healthy market in industrial for the foreseeable future. I do.
Okay.
So yeah.
So let's spin it the other way. Now everyone, you know, the other buzz is always, okay, let's take the inflation out of the equation. You know, the 75 bips that happened a week or two ago, we can save that for another conversation. But I'm thinking of a lot of the other conversations in our industry is, how is Willmeng, amongst all of us, how are we preventing and helping our developer partners with the long lead of, you know, it was steel last year, and then it's concrete, and now it's SES and transformers and things like that. Again, just through your eyes as CEO, what is Willmeng, and what are we as a collective whole doing to augment that?
Yeah. I mean, it you know, communicate, and it did, you know, it did feel like kind of a you know, smash the mole kind of scenario for a while, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it honestly, and as things have moved, we've continued to communicate what the next frontier of challenge is, right? And you know, stress management for our pre-con teams, even stress management for the developers. I mean, it's real.
I'm laughing with you, not at you.
Yeah. No, nobody wants to deliver bad news, right?
No.
And so anyway, I do believe, you know, I just said I think industrial still has, you know, legs and for the foreseeable future. That said, you know, it 2 years ago, you know, all parties that wanted to develop industrial, for instance, it was a green light. Well, we're getting into a period that those with conventional financing needs are starting to get yellow light, red light.
Yep.
And so anyway, nationally, you know, to a certain degree, I feel like nationally a recession is a good thing for this conversation. And, you know, one of the way, and you know, why is the Fed raising the interest rate? To hedge inflation, they're trying to hedge demand. And anyway, I do feel in a 12 to 18 month period, many of these supply chain conversations are going to go away for a couple reasons. One, most of the time the market will adjust on a 48-month calendar anyway. Figure it out, right? It's free,
math.
Well, it's math, and it's a free country and supply and demand. And so typically on a 48-month cycle, you'd figure out supply and demand challenges anyway. In addition, with a national economy that's cooling, that's going to be another force that I look forward to. Call it a 2015 environment where you're just really focused on getting approval and buying it once, not this extended procurement buying thing that we've all been dealing with. That, you know, buyout took 10 months. Well, how's that? How was that? Well, because we had to pre-order this and that, and you know, it stretched it out to the point. I think it's been fairly unhealthy for everyone, although we've persevered through it to good outcomes and maintained relationships through it. But boy, it's heavy lifting, as you know. So
no, I thank you. That was a great summary. I think you did. You think you nailed it very well. Daryl, let's take another break and come back with more with James in a minute.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
Thanks, Daryl. James, now switching down that other path. So we kind of covered the NAIOP and the industrial thing. You also have a heavy hand, your company does, with ABA. And I think again, well, a lot of the audience knows that I'm a 10-year transplant from the Midwest. And when I got here, I was like, ABA. So let me get this straight. There's basically AGC and ABC. There's union and non-union guys in the same room and they get along.
Right.
So it's funny, and there's a lot of other transplants from around the country here as well. So, but if you could explain a little bit about what ABA represents to our community in the construction community, and then what, much like you did with the NAIOP thing, just educate everyone of what are the pros and cons, not the cons. What are the pros coming out of that with your involvement in all of our peer group as well?
Yeah. No, I appreciate the question very much. So for me, Jack Willmeng, a member of ABA years ago, and I think I was in LDF, their leadership development forum. I think maybe the age requirement was not what it is today, because I don't think I could have been in at the same age now. But I thankfully got to go through that program really, really early on, 2000, 2001-ish. And anyway, the contracting community having a voice, be it legislative, be it the state of Arizona and the state itself passing alternative delivery approval, CMAR, is a big deal for the state of Arizona, and certainly a big deal for the contractors within the state. And ABA was certainly a big force then, and remains a force even now. And so for us, I mean, truth be told, within our organization, Keith Sabia is really our ABA lead. I went through LDF and in the Carol McMullen era of the ABA, which was a golden era. And then, Erica Lang has created her own golden era now. It's been quite fun to see. So anyway, Keith is primarily our lead. And anyway, it's a great organization, great people. Over the years, I've spent more time in that NAIOP room over the years, but Willmeng as a whole, I mean, we've got an ABA mixer coming up here that we're sponsoring, and anyway, it's altruistic for us. I know of all the members that I know that really are active in ABA, it's very, very heavy in L&D, and a lot of great curriculum for staff development, including the leadership development forum. So,
and it's not just us, the GCs. There's AE partners, there's trade partners. I mean, it's like any good, solid organization, and especially in the community such as the Phoenix proper.
You bet. Yeah, I mean, their leadership development forum. We've consistently had a participant there. I mean, I'm my understanding of I know obviously what I participated in 2000, and have heard sound bites of how that program has evolved. And I think it's probably one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
I think you can only get one person in. Supply demand is high, but I mean, if you were either a subcontractor or general contractor, boy, I'd be sure that I'm getting my person in, because it's a really, really good program. So anyway, thankful for all that they do, and they certainly make the building community better. There's no question.
Well, you fell right into my trap, and it wasn't planned. I was going to ask you, because again, whether it's you as CEO or any of our peers that are other CEOs, you always get the question, okay, James, okay, JJ, what are you guys doing for leadership? Not only internally, but for, again, the holistic, the holistic umbrella of our industry.
Yeah.
So if you could, again, without giving any trade secrets, what are you and Willmeng doing from a leadership perspective now? Like, how are we grooming that next generation?
Yep. Yeah. So, one person a year at the ABA. And I pause. I'm kidding. I mean, it's a good program. We'd put 4 in there if they'd let us. But, we are our second level leaders, that lieutenant level that we all need so desperately to lead tomorrow. There's a couple things that we've done. Rick Johnson. Rick Johnson has a program called Leading for Performance. And anyway, we've brought the Leading for Performance, which is Arizona Growth Advisors, is Rick Johnson. We've brought their Leading for Performance program internal to Willmeng. And when Rick runs it through Arizona Growth, it's a mix of people from different businesses. well, we wanted our own Willmeng class to get the headcount up, but we continued to bring. We felt that diversity, the voices from other businesses was important. So where we asked for his permission and brought his curriculum internal, 20% of our spots are for businesses that are not Willmeng, and so to continue 20% of our class, yeah. So and again, ally trade part, we say trade partner, we try to not say subcontractor, right? And anyway, ally trade partners, I know we had somebody from our insurance representative in the room. We're wanting a mixed perspective of the leadership pressures that are. I mean, the reality is the widget may change, but the leadership pressures around leading people are very common. And so anyway, that's probably the number one thing that we as a company are doing. For me, I joined a GC peer group, a national GC peer group in 2007, where it's all corner offices and non-disclosures, non-competes. You don't geographically naturally compete anyway. I'm on Greater Phoenix Leadership GPL. That from what's going on in the state, what's going on in the region, that group's hard to beat.
Yeah.
So
no, thanks. That's a perfect explanation. Back to, because I know you get this a lot too. It's like, okay, James, you've done a great job. You took over for Jack. You've grown this, all those kind of things. What's your legacy moment now moving forward, and what does that look like for the community? You guys are at a stage now. You're big enough. All those kind of things. What can you share with the audience about, like, what is Willmeng's legacy moving forward?
Yeah, our aspiration, it's kind of white hat like a positive force. We say contractor that cares, our staff, our clients, our community. I generally, years ago, there was a debate about whether we could drop Construction Inc. Our old logo, Willmeng Construction Inc. And those that know Assam Gandor, to think of him in a heated debate, they might have to pause, right? But the reality was there was a really heated debate around whether we could or should do that. How would people know what we do, right? And we'll fast forward. If we participate on the level that we should, and we're deliberate to do more than our share for the community and for our clients. The brand should stand for itself, and you shouldn't have to explain anyway. We've typically say internally to do your share, you've got to aspire to do more than your share, to actually do your share. And anyway, that's the long-term legacy that is the goal for Willmeng. That then 20 years from now, it hopefully will be a more of a white hat than a black hat, and a force for good, and not all the other things that tend to bubble up out there. So
no, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. You guys are now more than Arizona, correct?
We are. We've got we are, and we've had back, had Suitcase would travel for select clients, existing clients. I mean, that's been going on for some time. I mean,
right.
we built a basis in San Antonio. We built an Amarillo or an Amazon facility, in Amarillo, Texas. Right now we've got an active job in Salt Lake City. We've got an active job in Vegas. I mean, it's all really, really client centric.
Right.
We do have our Flagstaff office. Where do we really, hang a shingle, plant a flag with another major metro office? That debate's ongoing right now.
Okay.
But it's for people to think of Willmeng and think of kind of Mountain West, Boise to Tucson. I mean, that's where we're playing right now. So
you should be proud of that. It's cool for your team.
It's we enjoy challenges and clients, and you know what I mean. We really do. We really do. I feel like to a certain degree we're in a good way a little bit adrenaline junkies. Where it's challenging and we can push to get a good outcome. In the good, we're not football players. Our knees don't go bad. And so
it's just our brains, James.
Yeah, that's right. There's some truth to that. But that Mountain West region, you don't have the red tape paralysis of California. The Mountain West is done really well, and I think for good reason. And that's where we're placing our bets. So
Well, probably going to wrap it up here a little bit, but I do want to ask you kind of some more touchy feely ones.
Sure.
Again, with this kind of platform, what are you dying as James Murphy to tell our construction audience, either about Willmeng or about like what you do in your, I'm not talking your personal time,
Mm-hmm.
but your personal time of effectuating change in our industry. Like what, if you could touch on those two buttons as James Murphy,
Yeah.
I think the audience would really like to know a little bit about what goes through that cranium of yours.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's not just our industry, but it's certainly prevalent in our industry. It's life's about much more than the bottom line, and and you hear it. Our personal development plans, and even how we run the company. It's our goal is strong relationships and good outcomes, and with healthy people. And so that's really where we put our focus. We're in tune with our staff enough. There's a lot of stress out there, and post COVID, there's just a lot of stress out there, and I'm thankful that we know what the challenges are for our people, and because we know, knowledge is power, and we're able to support everybody in a way that you just wouldn't be able to do it if all of your review cycle stayed professional with a little bit of superficial personal. Anyway, people need a higher level of support, and they deserve a higher level of support. And
do you think other industries are doing that a lot better than ours?
The culture buzzword. I mean, it transcends all industries now. I don't know if I really think other industries are doing it better. I certainly know there's a lot of room for improvement in our industry, though. You know what
Touche.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do. We interview a lot of people to fill the Willmeng jerseys that we need from a recruiting point of view. And the most common phrase I hear is, "I feel like a number. I feel like a number." And I mean, I bet I've heard that in the last 5 years. I bet I have heard that, I don't know, thousands of times. I feel like a number. And and probably where somebody feels that way, that's because somebody's watching out for the business and the bottom line.
True.
And flying a little too fast. And it may be innocent, but the person's still looking for a change because they feel like a number. So anyway, life's too short, right? That's my sensation.
No, it's funny, as you were talking about that, it kind of resonated. I mean, hey, guilty as charged. I think we've all been there.
Yes, and even with us, how we've structured our team to stay in tune. That I'm comfortable, hopping on the radio saying that I think we're in tune with our staff. We are. But we've. It's not just intent to do it. We built the org chart to do it. And so certainly, anyway, we had to be strategic because there's no doubt I've fallen behind those chains in the years past as well.
And I was thinking, because we've had, without patronizing you, there's you and a bunch of other good ones that are doing it organically, going out recruiting the interns and doing, there's some wonderful people in town in our peer group that have a wonderful internship program and are cultivating those people. But at the same token, for us to attract talent from other verticals, look at, I look at it the other way of when you and I were going through college, and now look at some of those students that would have been ripe for a program. Let's be honest, the Intels and the TSMCs and the Boeings and the, even some of your clients, the Northrop Grummans and things, they're grabbing our old gene pool of talent because they're giving more of, I think, some of the things that you've talked about. Mm-hmm. They're not just focusing on bottom line, they're focusing on some of the more holistic and altruistic means and methods. And so that's where I'll fall on the sword too, as a leader in construction, saying we've got to do a better job of competing in those environments.
Yeah, absolutely. And one another talking point, this market, and I've said it pretty openly, this market, private sector, needs to charge for our services. I've had the conversation pretty openly. I go build X private product in Texas, and overhead and profit is 8, and we're competing for the same exact project in Greater Phoenix, and we've got 2 or 3 competitors at 2s and 3s. Give me a break.
It's not sustainable.
If that's how you lead, no, you're not going to have
Nope.
capacity to care for you, and you better be focused on the bottom line, because you're flying pretty low to the deck before you got started, right? And that's where I believe this market will mature in a favorable way on this subject. And actually, in this regard, I feel that some of the new people from out of market will actually help me drive some reasonable margin. We're not talking 15 and 18.
No.
We're talking the difference between 6 and 3.
Well, let's be honest. We're even in the basis points at some point.
No, 100%. Yeah, and fractions.
So, hey,
yes.
Geez, James, I don't know. 25 bips. And take it for that.
You're exactly right. Exactly. Anyway, I do believe the construction industry is the best people industry there ever will be, and it's about the challenges and perseverance and the relationships forged in this market. We need to work on what does that cost as a group. So anyway.
Hey, Daryl, how much time do we have? Some time left, or can I ask one more question? All right, James, back to you made me think of one thing with your heavy involvement with ASU and other colleges around the country. What can you let the audience know about if you went down there, just go a little bit deeper. What are you seeing coming out of your help, the peer help in developing the non-traditional student that's coming out of that?
Yeah,
I'm sure you have a great view of that.
Yeah. Our H-1B group. In terms of they're international students. They're probably civil undergrad, maybe architectural, maybe something.
A lot more engineering background.
A lot more engineering backgrounds.
Okay.
A lot of them are civil engineers, and they have an American dream probably that has them stateside, going through a master's at ASU or other, right? And anyway, for us, that internet, and it started years and years and years ago with us with Assam Gondor. I mean, he went to Bradley University for it was a civil engineering degree with an emphasis in construction. And fast forward, we were working together, Assam and I was very young going to ASU, and he was a couple of years my senior. And had already been hired, and I just immediately saw that international perspective and thinking and problem solving brought something to the table. And so anyway, long before this supply demand talent stretch that we're all going through, we recognized, the international H1 types, they bring something to the table that's unique, different, and very, very healthy. And so anyway, we've got, let's just say, at least our share of H-1Bs, and anyway, I think that's a talent pool that would complement pretty much any organization out there, some of the best and the brightest. So anyway, right now, if you look at the graduate level at ASU, there's a great group. And a great group every semester. And anyway, I think some organizations, and maybe it's HR or whatever, maybe there's a little flinch around hiring with the H-1B process as a requirement. But boy, we feel that we've gotten out of it a lot more than we put into it, and we've deliberately put a lot into that group. So
I think that's a great way. Oh, hold on. Call from the audience. Oh, yeah. Have you seen a difference in the industry with having more women?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
And was that cultivated off the H-1B program or not?
No.
Okay.
No. It certainly, when I look within Willmeng, yes. I mean, there's a again, it's almost the same conversation. There's a different perspective that is a healthy perspective, and I feel like it. In both cases, it makes it stronger. There's no question.
Well, I'm seeing. I know, Daryl, to your perspective, across the board, we're seeing just, well, let's gender, ethnicity, all of it. Let's be honest. When I was brought up, it was just a white man's industry. I mean, that's the truth. That's nothing stating beyond it. Now it's just multicultural. There, I look at even our small company. I think we're darn near 50-50. And one of our senior project managers is a woman, and she's got a resume that'll blow most men out of the water, right? And you're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, I would, no doubt. Do we have work to do, pushing young ladies in particular towards STEM programs and doing it earlier?
Oh, without a doubt.
I still feel like there's work to be done there. That said, supply demand, I'd love to kick our ratio up a little more than what it is, and their female representation in the candidate pool doesn't allow us to move the needle that much, and so you need to get back to whatever pre-fifth grade and push that the sky's the limit in all industries, all categories. So,
and I think it was we're on episode 20 now, and what was it, Daryl? Episode 2 or 3, we had 2 leading women of the community here, and we probably need to bring that back again, not for the specific message, but more the general message of what you're talking about, James.
Yep.
So anyway, with that, boy, James, thanks a lot for your insight today. Thanks for representing yourself, your wonderful team at Willmeng, and really our industry as a whole. So appreciate you being on. Daryl, thanks for bringing us across the production line. And to my esteemed colleague sitting at home with 47 cotton balls in his mouth, heal up quick, Robert, and we'll see you next week.
JJ, thanks for having me.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to the Mac and Blue Show, brought to you by Torrey Contracting and Blue Wave General Contracting. Be sure to subscribe to the Mac and Blue podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Robert Johnson and JJ Levinsky on LinkedIn and Instagram. And tune in live every Monday at 3 p.m. as we continue to introduce you to the people building Arizona. Walt Disney said, "You can dream, create, design, and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it requires people to make the dream a reality." Until next time, make it a great day.